Wedges. This year we're playing the Cobra Black wedges. I've got 3 lofts in my wedges, excluding the pitching wedge, so I have a 50, 54 and a 58. So I've got 4 degrees gap between each of these bottom wedges, and I've also got a 4-degree gap going into my pitching wedge as well. Irons wise, I've continued from last year's, so I'm using the Forged MB, which is a all black head, and also have a blacked out nickel shaft. And I have the same shaft throughout all my irons and wedges. A couple of new additions to the bag this year, so one being the King Forged Tech driving iron, which is in fact is 3 iron, but it's bent to a 2 iron loft. And in this we have the Catalyst 80 6.5 X flex shaft. Slightly longer than standard this one. This is to replace the 2 iron in my bag, and where I was playing the hybrid last year. Going into the new SZ Cobra woods, first one in the bag is the Tor fairway wood. So Tor fairway wood is a slightly stronger, slightly smaller headed than the standard fairway wood. This one's set at 14 degrees of loft. I've got it set at standard at the moment with a Smokes Hazard 6.5X flex shaft. Again, all my grips are all the same, so all of these have the Lamp King crossline. New additions this year, I've actually gone with the Arcos system, which is fitting all of Cobra's woods and irons that come out of the factory now. The Arcos system is a great system. It allows you to track your round, allows you to track where your ball is hit from, and over time it starts to give you predictions on what club that you should actually play from different locations, but we can show you that in a slightly later video. Last one in the new for this year is the SZ driver. I've actually got the standard SZ opposed to the SZ Extreme. This is set to 7.5 degrees. Again, same shaft and grip setup as we had with the fairway wood. Putters continuing to stay in the bag is the Scotty Cameron notchback. So I've had this putter for a number of years now and struggling to change it because I really do like this putter. And also I've just started training with the Super Speed training aids. We'll see these in a later video coming this week. The Super Speed training aids look at overspeed training, so it's a way of increasing club head speed. But we'll talk to you a little bit more about this system in a few days' time. So the second part of this video today, we're actually going to look at some club maintenance. Some of these need a little bit of maintenance. They're not very clean from some wedge work we've been doing earlier on this week. So we'll take you back inside. We'll get our bucket, get our scrub and brush, and we'll show you some ways of maintaining your clubs properly. That's going to avoid any further damage, and also looking at maintaining grips just to keep them a little bit fresher for a little bit longer. So let's take it inside. We'll get some warm soapy water, and we'll take it from there. First and foremost, we've got nice hot water with some soap inside. And first of all, we're going to actually look at cleaning the club head. Now, these sound like some basic things, but there are some common problems that people have when they're washing clubs. First and foremost, do not leave your clubs resting in a hot bucket of water unless you really need to. If you have big cavities in the back and they get full of mud, then obviously you need to at that time. But when you leave your club heads resting in water, you actually heat up the ferrule and the glue that's inside the head, so it can over time damage the connection between the shaft and the club head. So quick dip, nice strong scrub and brush, and we're just going to scrub out any dirt that's within the grooves, turn over into the back of the head and scrub out anything we need inside any of the little crevices. Also, when we leave your clubs in hot water, the numbers and the paint within the numbers can start to deteriorate just because that heat isn't really designed to be on these. So once I've given these nice scrub to get all the grooves clean, quick last dip and shake it off, and then we leave it to dry next to the rest of the clubs. On to the next one. So same again, quick dip, scrub across the grooves, along the top of the sole, back of the club head, just looking to get rid of any debris. Quick dip and over to rest. So once we've done the complete set, we'll then towel dry, and then we can work onto the woods. Now the woods themselves, most woods nowadays have a carbon composite on the crown, and some have deep channels along here, but they definitely have grooves, and this screw pull, which is on most golf clubs now, or weights and things like that. Leaving these inside water can actually make any gaps around this port or down into the head here, can actually start to fill with water. So if you do leave this submerged in water, you are potentially going to fill the club head with water. It takes an awful long time for it to come out. So again, strong brush on the face. Generally anything on the crown can be wiped with your hand, and then we have into any crevices on the sole of the club, just working them out with a nice stiff brush. Quick dip and back out again just to get any of that excess soap off, and our club's now ready to just sit and dry on the side next to the bag. So once these have dried, we then get a dry cloth to them and polish them up a little bit just to make sure we've got any of the watermarks off and things like that. We don't want to dry these straight away and put them in the bag, because you'll put the head cover on, and especially areas like the weights and the screw on the neck, they will start to have rust marks. Irons, if you put them straight in the bag into a shed, you're going to get spots, especially on the shaft. So once we've let them dry, we can then start to look at the grip. Now, the grip's probably one of the most unclean part of a golf club, and it's the one bit that you're going to touch the most throughout your play. So things that we can see with grips is, if we start to see finger marks where your hands have been, then they'll start to wear, and that's the sign that we need to get grips changed. These are all pretty new grips, so all I've got on here is just some splats of mud that have been through play. So we're going to clean this off, leave this to dry. Now we can't really scrub these once we've washed them. We can't really scrub them dry because they will have bits of moisture sitting within the grip. So it's well worth taking these inside to let these dry, and then once they're dried completely, put them back in the bag. If we do get anything wet, these have got, like I say, the Arcos system in the bottom of the grip, so we're not going to get any water down the shaft. If we do get any water down the shaft, it's always best to keep them drying with the grip pointing down, so that any moisture can run down the grip and not into the shaft and start the shaft rusting. So again, strong scrubbing brush. Don't necessarily need to use soapy water with this, but if you do use soapy water, it's worth washing it off with clean water afterwards. Otherwise, if you're playing on the golf course and you get soap studs on your grips, they'll start to lather up once you've started playing a few holes. So then I scrub them from bottom to top, straight down, get any pore moisture or mud out of any of those grooves, right the way around the grip, shake off, and then we'd wring that off and scrub that again with clean water just to get rid of any soap. So now your clubs are all ready, they should now be all drying. We're going to let them dry off, polish them up with our towel, and then they can back in the bag ready for our next game.